Hello, welcome to another video. So if you remember a little while ago I took a look at Clear Linux on my Intel based laptop, and in that I mentioned how I'd want to sort of test it out a bit more on my AMD based desktop. So that's what I'm going to do today. I downloaded this Clear Linux last night and installed two games. I've got CSGO and Shadow of Mordor, mainly because CSGO is the game I actually tend to play, although I haven't played it in forever, and Shadow of Mordor's got a nice little benchmark thing in there that will work on both Linux and Windows, so we can get a good sort of like for like comparison, if you will. So what we're going to do it on, we've got an AMD Ryzen 5 1600X and an AMD Radeon RX 480, the 8 gig version. So let me just make sure I haven't got anything running that we don't need to run. Let's quit that. So okay, let's jump into Steam, and then what we're going to do is we're going to open Shadow of Mordor. Where are you? Middle Earth. Play. As I say, I've downloaded both on the Windows and on here last night, sort of let it download. Where are we? Play. I do believe you get a little warning message here saying it doesn't really support the hardware that I'm using, so bear that in mind. Where are you? Here we go. Your computer's graphics card or driver is not supported by the game. You may be able to play the game but are likely to see graphical glitches, etc. So let's just jump open, go straight into the benchmark, and then I'll do the same on Windows, and then we'll see how it fares up. And yeah, hopefully that's not too loud. I'll turn it down. Okay, let's jump back into it. Alright, let's go to options and benchmark. So there'll be an FPS counter at the top left, and there'll also be the sort of in-game FPS counter that they have top right. So at the beginning here, it's starting off at about 50 flickering. 47. Okay, so it's dipping at parts, so it does get quite low at certain points. And this is while I'm recording though, so I'll try and do a test while I'm not recording and sort of clip that picture in while I edit the video. So here it's going to get a bit of a higher average. Okay. Right, so the highest there I can see, I think we reached was 151, but we'll wait until the end screen. Okay, so we're just short of 70 FPS, and the max FPS that we got there was 150, and the min was 34.43. I'm going to jump into my Windows partition now, and we're going to do the same thing, and then we're going to sort of compare the results. Okay, so we're over on the Windows side of things now. We're going to do the same thing with Shadow of Mordor and see how it compares. So it's probably going to, I'm not anticipating Clear Linux to win, but I'm just hoping that there's not a massive gap. Let me just turn that down a bit. So let's just go into the options and we'll benchmark this. Let me just turn that down a bit more. That's annoying me. Okay. Right, let's go. So what are we starting with? So already we're starting higher. So we're at about 70 on Windows. We're at about 50 on Clear. Okay, so this is starting to drop now at 50, 60. Okay, so I think it will have an higher average. I haven't seen it reach as high maximum as Clear Linux did though. I haven't seen it go as low either. Right, let's have a look. Average is 76, so let's round up the average that we got to on Clear Linux to 70, let's say. Well, let's just say there was roughly 7 FPS in it. That's not too bad, you know. I'm quite impressed there, and we actually got a higher maximum on Clear, but then we also got a worse minimum on Clear. But there's only 7 FPS in it in the average, so that's actually quite impressive. I'm going to jump back into my Clear Linux partition now, and we'll just have a little look around and just sort of see how it feels on my AMD system. Okay, so we're back on Clear Linux now. This is my Clear Linux desktop. I've changed the theming to the Mac Mojave Dark theme, and I've changed the icons to Arc Icon Themes. The only thing I don't like about this Mac theme is that it's got the Apple icons here, and I'm not trying to sort of fool myself into thinking that this desktop is an Apple computer. I have a Mac, so I don't really need to, you know, do that. So what we're going to do is we've installed some extensions in the tweaks package here. So hopefully my thinking is correct, and the Arc menu will, there we go. So the Arc menu's got rid of the Apple button for us. And let's go on to Dash to Dock, and we're going to remove that completely because I don't need the show applications icon, because I can just do that, Windows A, and it will show application icons anyway. And I tend to just search and enter when I'm on GNOME, so I'm not too bothered about that. So I'm going to keep this theme as it is. I was thinking of changing it until I've just sort of thought why not just sort of remove those icons, because I do really like the way the transparency works on the side here, and it's just nice. It fits with the Arc icon theme very well. So applications wise, I'm going to stick with actually having this Clear Linux on my spare partition. So this usually is a partition dedicated just to random distributions that I test, but I've bought another drive for that, so I've kind of got one spare now. So I'm going to keep Clear Linux on that because I want to do a few more tests with it in the future. So I'm going to open up Steam because I'm going to see how it runs Global Offensive as well. So I tried to jump into a game of it earlier, and it was when I tried to record it, and it just wasn't working. I think maybe the version of OBS that I was using, so I downloaded a different version of OBS, and then everything's just sort of worked as it should, which was a bit strange, but there we go. Where are we? Here we are. I'm just going to jump into a quick game of casual. Haven't played CSGO for longer than 2 minutes in ages. I just want to see what sort of FPS we get on average whilst recording. So usually what I'd sort of get about 180 to 200 on this hardware on Linux whilst not recording. So if I can get something similar like that whilst recording, that gives me a good idea of sort of, you know, it'll be quite well performing on here. Hopefully it's turned down so it's not too loud. So there'll be an FPS counter in the top left, and there'll be the FPS graph at the bottom there if you want to have a look. Yeah, and I'll just we'll have a round on here, and then I'll just sort of talk you through what I did last night. As I say, I only installed it last night. Installed a few applications. Well, no, I didn't install applications. I downloaded some map images. I'll show you which ones. Kdenlive in particular, because it's just easier not having to pull in the Kdenlive, the KDE stuff when you want to just use Kdenlive on GNOME or something. Right, we'll just play the pistol round. So we was getting about 160 there. As we're only going to play one round of Spire Deagle. So what are we getting? We're getting about 170. 200, I just saw it touch. Feels nice, and the thing I like as well is that there's no lag when you're like just sort of moving around. So with other distributions, when I've sort of played around with it and had a game running like CSGO in the background, it was so sort of laggy to do anything else. But with CSGO, it's easy to jump into. That's my fault. We'll do an actual round. I shouldn't have bought that Deagle now. Yeah, it's sort of it's just so much more fluid to use than other distributions I've noticed. And I've used a lot of distributions, and this Steam is actually I think it's actually a flat pack. I think the Steam that ships or doesn't ship, you have to sort of install it, is a flat pack. Let's just open that ready. Yes, I'm pretty sure no, it's a flat pack. Yeah, from FlatHub. Right, let's just play around. Oh, it's a mess. I'm poor. We'll play around. I just want to sort of have a look at the FPS, and then we'll oh, savage. Was that a scout hit or something? We'll finish up. Well, we've got no health anyway, so Ah, you stole him from me. Gotcha. I pinged his head once, but we didn't get a headshot. I hate FAMAS. Anyway, yeah, no, that performs pretty damn good. I'd like to see what it's like when I'm not recording, but if that's anything to go by, quite nicely. So yeah, I've not done too much really on here, but I'm really quite impressed with it. As I say, I'm going to keep this on the partition, so you might see it on the channel quite a bit more in the future. I'll just talk you through what I did last night and so far as sort of applications. So I download app images, and certain app images, when you sort of double execute them, make them executable, and then double click them, will make a configuration sort of desktop for you, but then some won't. So what I do is I have a little thumb drive where I keep sort of app images and sort of debs and a lot of random other stuff, like Linuxy stuff, and then I just copy over my and also the .desktop side sort of keep, and then I copy them over, so it's just very quickly. It takes me 5 seconds to be up and running with sort of a few things that I like to use, and then anything else I let the distribution sort of fill in the blanks. But that's been Clear Linux on AMD, and I'm actually very, very impressed with that. I didn't think it was going to be as impressive as I found it on AMD, but it is. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe. You'll see a bit more of Clear Linux in the future on here. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you on the next one. Bye bye.